Whether you're a guy in a cape
It's been a really long time.
or a rogue who's sneaky,
I forgot the words.
join myself, Chris,
And Rodger.
as we entertain the geeky.
I feel like we can bring the energy up a little bit. It's been a fucking month.
Guys, what's going on?
Dude, it has been a month.
It's been way too long.
So, I was working on that best of episode.
Yeah.
Listening to a lot of old episodes. Audacity does not placate very well to clipping and putting things on.
No, you got to go to the original media files.
No, so I did. I'd go to the original media files and I'd try to cut and paste and do all that. It just didn't work right.
Okay.
I spent like 5 hours one day just sitting there clicking and doing that while Courtney was sleeping, and I could not get it to go.
Fair enough.
All right. So let's talk the big news, because fuck that. Let's go straight to it.
Okay.
Fox, Disney.
Yeah,
Fuck that.
I'm about it.
Are you about Disney owning everything?
Well, Disney already owns everything.
Not my X-Men.
They're gonna.
The only good thing that can come from this whole thing is we'll see Wolverine in a yellow suit.
Or Deadpool.
No, Deadpool's dead. Like Disney will not do an R-rated superhero movie. They won't do it.
Maybe we'll get a Deadpool Netflix series.
I don't want a Deadpool Netflix series. I want Deadpool to stay with Ryan Reynolds in these 1.5, 2-hour movies. Funny, done.
You know what would be funny about that, though? So there is a huge opportunity there to break down the fourth wall.
Interesting.
Because all these movie rights changing, you could be like, wow, you look different.
You know what would be awesome? If, like, in Deadpool 2, the end credit is like, if this deal doesn't go through, like, you see Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds walking around wearing a Mickey Mouse hat. He sets it down. He's like, maybe next year.
Yeah.
That'd be something awesome. Like that.
Or I thought I was going to get to meet Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. Where's Iron Man?
That'd be hysterical.
Chris, okay, so here you go. For more fourth wall break. He meets Chris Evans as Captain America, and he goes, hey, weren't you on fire one time?
Oh, that'd be great.
Because
as a Fox
that's
character.
what happened, yeah. But, I mean, I don't like it. I'd be okay with them getting Fantastic Four, because I think Fantastic Four would work awesome with the Avengers. I still don't. X-Men, no.
I think it could be very well integrated. Infinity War teaser.
No, not a teaser. That's a full-blown trailer.
It is, but it's good.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Are you?
Yeah.
I watched that trailer and you know what I thought about? It's just a big fight scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it. I'm out.
Oh,
God. I'll wait. I'll wait.
Oh, God. Rodger.
I'm not... Look, I've waited so long for Infinity War.
Yeah.
Like, they've pushed it back so many times.
I mean, it's not been pushed back that many times.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah, that's not...
Twice. That's a lot.
It was a couple of months.
No, because originally Infinity War was supposed to be Avengers 2, and they're like, wait, let's build this whole universe.
No. Infinity War was supposed to be part 1 and 2.
Let's do this whole universe.
Because Age of Ultron was... They announced that. They showed a whole lineup, and Infinity War was in it.
Infinity War was supposed to be before that.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, originally. That was the first pushback when they went, we're going to do Age of Ultron next.
No,
yeah.
They had already announced Age of Ultron, which was... meh.
Age of Ultron was bad.
Hold on. Hold on.
It was bad.
Let's talk about this. So, Joss Whedon, I heard, might have been fired from doing Batgirl.
So that rumor's not true.
It's not?
No, I read the story. It's not true, but I had a conversation with Zach C. About this when he was in town, and I had this whole thing. I was like, look, I get that Joss Whedon's a piece of shit. Like he cheated on
his wife,
Yeah, cheated on his wife, did all that stuff. But does that mean he's still not a champion for women's rights? Can't you still be like, I think women should be treated better?
Maybe he was treating women too well.
Maybe. I mean, no. It's a weird thing to sit there and say you're a piece of shit because you cheated on your wife. But on the same token, the ideas he stood for, the whole women empowerment thing, could still be true.
Oh, no, absolutely. Now, you don't cheat on your wife. No, you're definitely taking away from
Joss
women's
Whedon
empowerment
definitely did that. And until we find out more, like if it's just that he cheated on his wife, if he pulled a full-on Harvey Weinstein, we got a problem.
Yeah. Like,
we got a big problem at that point. But right now, he cheated on his wife. He's like every other douchebag in Hollywood.
Yeah, basically.
Fucking Brad Pitt cheats on his wife, cheats on Jennifer Aniston, and everyone's like, "Oh, that sucks." But you got Angelina Jolie.
Yeah,
good for you.
One apparently there was
and Ben Affleck and Jennifer Gardner.
That one was a mess, man.
Still is a mess.
Apparently, she's dating somebody else now. I read.
Yeah, but she doesn't have an acting career.
No,
it's sad. I see her on those commercials all the time. What's in your wallet?
So, have you seen the previews for Bright? On
Will
Netflix?
Smith?
Yes.
Like this weird urban fantasy detective movie? Yeah, it looks good.
Now, do you know that the reason Deadshot's in that is because David Ayer directed it?
No.
So, I'm watching it, and they're like, from the guy that brought you Suicide Squad. And I was like, David Ayer directed this? And then I'm like, it makes sense. That's why Will Smith is in it.
Well, interesting. So, someone put a meme after Justice League, kind of bombed.
Yeah.
And they're like, quit blaming the movies. Quit blaming the directors. Quit blaming the writers. And it's this guy right here, the head of WB. He's who you need to be mad about.
Yeah.
Some Asian fuck.
You know what's funny about that is everybody's like, we want to see Zack Snyder's cut. And it's like, you fucking pissed on all of his other movies.
We saw Zack Snyder's cut. It was called Batman vs. Superman.
And it was bad.
I mean, the director's cut was okay.
It was okay. Like, yeah, the biggest problem is studio interference. And it was the same thing with Suicide Squad.
Yeah, if WB, if the DC universe is going to stand as film, then studio interference needs to go away. I will say this about DC though: they are still like Jason O'Toole's biggest complaint about Justice League was they threw a lot of nods in for fans of the comic book, but they didn't explain it to the people who never read the comics.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. I truly am.
No, those are Easter eggs for fans.
Right. I'm okay with that. Like Marvel. The reason Marvel works so well as a cinematic universe is they're pretty much saying, fuck the fans that read the comics. We're going to dumb down our stories. We're going to make it more general based.
You still get nods to fans though.
Small nods. But a lot of the nods they still explain.
To an extent, yeah.
And DC's like, fuck that. You know who this guy is. You read the comics.
You're
good to
welcome.
go. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I will applaud DC for that.
I mean, I think all these studios that are doing superhero movies do that.
Yeah.
They nod to the fans.
But Marvel...
Even Fox nods to the fans. More so Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, no, Ryan Reynolds nods to the fans. And Ryan Reynolds only nods to the fans of Deadpool because he gets it. It's very weird when you get an actor who loves a character so much that he loves Deadpool.
What's funny about that is Deadpool is such a young character. Like if you really want to get down to the nitty gritty, 92.
Yeah,
92.
He's young. He's 1 year older than Jurassic Park. Which means I would bone Deadpool.
You've got a baby character though.
Yeah.
And that's unreal. Because that character's, that's almost 30 years ago now. Okay.
Yeah, we're old.
We're old.
We're old as fuck.
But like when you talk about how old some of these other characters are,
60s, 50s,
40s.
Dude, did you watch real quickly? Have you ever watched AMC's The Real Story?
No.
Robert Kirkman. Like every episode is about different comic book characters or a time in comic book history. Wonder Woman was fucked up. Mm-hmm. They did the whole Superman thing. Like they're really cool little hour-long documentaries about comics. It's amazing.
It's on AMC?
It's on AMC. It comes on Monday nights. They've done 5 episodes now.
Nice.
I haven't watched the new one, but the first one was Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Then it was Stan Lee and Jack Kirby.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was like Stan Lee kind of comes off like a dick.
No, if you look back on the history of that,
yeah, Stan Lee's kind of a dick. Then they did.
I don't think Stan Lee is a dick.
No, but the way there was
his
a time,
his story is not the nicest thing.
No, there was a time when he was kind of. I think saying he was a dick is a bad thing.
He's a businessman.
Well, no, he wasn't even a businessman. He was the figurehead. Like, he was the guy that went out and been like, Spider-Man's this, X-Men's this. And Jack Kirby was the one in the background doing these things.
Making it happen, yeah.
And I could see where in the 70s and 80s where that split happened. Where Jack Kirby's not getting the credit because Stan Lee's out there. He's the PR whore. And Jack Kirby's just the guy in the background doing the work.
God, we're going to piss people off with that.
Why? It's true.
No, it is.
No, it's true.
If you can watch documentaries about Stan Lee he's a legend.
Stan Lee did his work. And Stan Lee worked hard in the beginning. And Stan Lee still works hard in comics.
Stan Lee, yeah. So, did you know that Stan Lee, that's his pen name?
Because he did not want his real name to be associated with comics. He wanted to write novels.
And now
he can't get
Stan
away with
Lee
it.
is, he's the man.
He is. And
Stan the Man Lee.
It's not, we're not saying Stan Lee didn't work hard. We're saying Stan Lee had a role. He was the PR whore for Marvel.
Yeah. And he's essentially the Queen of England.
And in comic books, like especially Marvel, it was Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko. These are the guys that made Marvel what it was.
Yeah.
And Stan Lee got the credit. Now, he deserves it. But
Absolutely.
So did Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko. And they're now getting that recognition. But in the 70s and the 80s, it was all Stan Lee. You never saw Jack Kirby go out and do interviews. You never saw him do these things because that wasn't his part.
I think the 80s, it was also a different time.
It was.
People wanted a figurehead then,
And Stanley did a good job.
and he was that.
So I'm not saying he was a dick. I mean, but he kind of. I can see how history could view him as a dick.
Oh, absolutely. No, if you seriously go back and watch like any documentary about how Marvel Comics came to be, you're like, fuck, Stan Lee was cutthroat.
Right. And he wasn't. He was just, that was his job. He was doing his job. Jack was doing his job. Steve was doing his job. And feelings got hurt as it got big. Then they did one on Superman. Man, those guys got fucked.
Oh, yeah.
They got fucked hard. Like, DC's not a good place to work if you created Superman. It was from the 60s to Christopher Reeve's movie, these guys made no money off Superman. Like, they got fired. The guy, Joel Shuster, went back to work for DC, and he was writing Superman again because his wife begged DC to take him back. And he would send storylines. He's like, hey, let's do this. Woman. Let's do this. And DC be shooting him down, saying that's not going to work. That's not Superman anymore. They took the creators' names off of Superman until the movie came out.
You got to tip your hat to his wife on that one too, though.
No, but he like the other creator was a delivery boy, had $100.
That's insane.
Like, he dropped a package off to DC Comics, and his old boss saw him, and he's like, "Where's your coat?" He's like, "Dude, I can't afford a coat." He reached into his wallet, gave him $50, and said, "Go buy a coat."
Oh my God.
Instead of, "Hey, you created Superman, the biggest superhero ever,
our poster child,
who's making us a shit ton of money. Come back, let's do this right now." They're like, "Go buy a coat."
And his Action Comics #1 you can sell for a couple $1 million.
Yeah, and then the only reason they got credit is they, oh God, what's his name? Mark Waid? No, not Mark Waid. Another famous comic creator was like, "This is wrong." Took up the mantle. Was like, these guys created Superman. They created Superman long before DC picked him up, and they're not, and they're da 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 da. You know, you're making
these guys are legends.
You're making a blockbuster movie, and you're not giving them any credit. So, you know, finally they strike a deal. They settle out of court for a bunch of money, and the two creators sat down. They were invited to the premiere of Superman. No recognition, none of that. You know, none like, here are the creators, yay! They're sitting down in the film, and they see Superman created by, and then their names.
And that's a big deal.
And like, yeah, that was it right there. That was their final recognition that, hey, we did something.
Well, that's one of the special things that James Gunn did for the creator of Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah. Well, he took, because he's with cerebral palsy, or
he very, very sickly. So yeah, he
did multiple sclerosis.
It's one of those degenerative diseases.
Yeah.
And he sat down, did the hey, you get to watch this movie first. Yeah. In the hospital with him. Like, how cool is that?
Well, and he was very happy with Rocket Raccoon. Like in broad, comic books have an Image did a lot for this, but comic books have, the way the publishing treats their creators has changed so much. It used to be you created the character, cool, here's your salary.
Yeah.
You get nothing. And Image came around and said, you know what? You created the character, you created the storylines, you own these rights. We're just going to publish your books.
That's how it should be. Yeah,
like, we'll make money off selling these books, but look how rich Robert Kirkman is because of The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead is a crazy thing too, because that potentially could have been nothing.
It should have been nothing. It was a shitty. Sorry, Walking Dead is a shitty comic book.
Well,
you want to talk about what's going to piss people off?
If you
Walking Dead is a shit comic book.
If you look at the comic book though, like, you could get 25-cent comics of Walking Dead 1 back in the day
until the TV show came out.
Until the show came out.
Like Walking Dead, it's not a well written comic. It's not that good. You can go back and read that 8-10 years it's been going on, and there are a few moments that stick out.
Invincible was good though.
Invincible was good. Robert Kirkman can write, but I'm just saying Walking Dead's not that good.
It's not his masterpiece.
It's not. It's just the one that got famous. It's the one that they ran with.
And it's because of our society's fascination with zombies.
Well, and it struck at the right time. You had 28 Days Later coming out, 28 Days Later. Like, he hit right at that moment where zombies blew up. And the TV show is done.
Again.
And the TV show's done what the TV show is done. And, yeah.
That's
though the viewership of this season is down a lot.
I think it's time to put a pin in it.
No, this season's really good, though.
I'm not saying that it's not a good season. I'm saying it's probably time.
No, this season's really good, though. I mean, it's because they're not talking about zombies. It's all about killing Negan. That's all it's about. It's about war. Like this whole season has been like one fucking day so far.
Really?
Yeah, it's just been like one long fucking day.
Did you ever get to watch Punisher on Netflix?
I'm halfway through it right now.
It's good.
Yeah.
Oh, you just want to piss him off.
No,
It's a good show.
It's a good show. And I get that they had to update Frank Castle because obviously a Vietnam vet doesn't work.
Correct.
But I don't having his family killed by the military as opposed to the mafia. It's like, then why are you fighting crime?
Because the military was the mafia in this one.
I mean, no.
I mean, they've done a good job.
Well, I get why you're against the military. I get that, but where do you go after that? I mean, why are you turning to the war on crime?
It's not even so much the military.
No,
it's the privatization of the military. Right. So you have these people that are selling heroin. I mean, they are mobsters.
But that's not, like they threw bones to people that Red Punch, like the Guccini family's in it, which is from Steve Dillon and Garth Ennis's run was the Guccini family.
Yeah.
So you're getting nods like that, but it's like at the end of the season, I'm not there yet. But I just don't see how you turn from fighting these privatized military organizations to war on crime where you're killing drug dealers in the street or rapists or anything like that. It's just the motivation's not there.
Well, a lot of it you don't understand. Like I honestly, I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
No, it's a good show. It's just it's not the Punisher.
It is.
It's not.
You can be as pissed off as you want. It's
I'm not
the Punisher.
Mad. I'm enjoying watching it. It's a very action-oriented show. It's the best. Honestly, it's better than Daredevil.
Ooh.
It's the best Netflix show they've done. Like Daredevil, while Daredevil's really good, the second season took away from what I enjoyed about Daredevil.
You know what? The second season of Daredevil was not as good as the first season.
And the first season was like this amazing character study between Matt Murdock and Kingpin, and it was the action was there, but it wasn't about the action. It was about the character study. And with the second season of Daredevil and Defenders, it turned more into what the action was about. Now, Punisher being an action show, because that's the fun. The opening scene is that he shoots a guy in Mexico while he's getting a blowjob. I mean, come on. I
love episode 1 when he's smashing people's heads in with hammers.
Yeah, that's the Punisher.
Sick.
That's the Punisher. And it's an action-oriented show. There's some character development, and I really enjoyed it. I love the way him and Gadget don't get along.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Well,
because there's huge conflict between them in the comics. Mm-hmm, huge. Mm-hmm.
Which is something that Punisher Warzone just was like, oh no, they're buddies. They're sidekicks.
Yeah. Now, Jigsaw. As soon as Billy pops up, I was like, Tara, that's Jigsaw!
I was like, hey, guess what? That guy's going to be a bad guy.
He's going to be disfigured. And
which I haven't got there yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know it's coming.
Yeah, he's still
the pretty boy.
He's still the pretty boy that's like, listen, guy who almost shot your dad, you can't be part of my military. Though, in my mind, that's the guy you want.
Yeah, I get it. You're not there, though.
I'm not there.
Because shit happens.
Does it?
Oh, yeah.
Like, the last episode I watched is when that guy was told he couldn't serve.
Yeah.
And then I fell asleep. Like, it was one of those nights where, like, you're watching a show, and, like, it's 11, and all of a sudden you're asleep, and you wake up to... I woke up to the head lady boning the one guy.
Yeah.
And
Billy.
Courtney was like, hey, she's fucking that guy again. And I was like, I don't know.
Again.
I don't know what's going on.
So, you can tell, I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but you can tell the Vietnam vet is really getting to that kid.
Right.
In the meetings.
Which is weird. It's a Vietnam vet. Because that's what Frank was.
It's a nod.
Frank was a Vietnam vet who just went nuts and started killing people after his family died.
It's a nod. But, yeah, the Vietnam vet's getting to him, and that all takes off.
What else we got? Oh, and then another thing, because we're talking comics. That other that show, History of, they did an episode that really stuck with me. It was how comics dealt with 9/11.
Oh, my gosh. Beautifully.
Like a whole issue. Like, it was a whole hour-long documentary, and it wasn't about the terrorist attack. It wasn't about the politics. It was about, this is what we did. And Captain America was the one that went through the most change. And I was like, I never realized that. It was, because at that time, we all came together, and we had the Spider-Man Black issue.
Yeah.
And everyone came together. Marvel did an amazing run with Heroes and
Villains even.
And
they're like,
Dr. Doom cried.
He's like,
and he's
it's
like,
not supposed to be like
he's
this.
destroyed New York how many times? And he's like, mm-mm. And then you see Captain America, who's the symbol of patriotism. And for a year, Captain America was that. He was like, we're taking Al-Qaeda, we're doing this, we're doing that. And then public opinion started moving away from the uniform 9/11 camaraderie to what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
And then that's when Captain America hit his stride, because he was still this patriot. He was still fighting for what happened in New York, but he started distrusting the people in charge, which was a very interesting. I never realized that like that's what made Captain America what he is
That's
today.
a precursor for Civil War.
It is.
Yeah.
And that was an amazing.
It's good writing.
Yeah.
It's good writing.
Way for Marvel to stick to everything.
The way that 9/11 did unify the country
for about a week.
We had like a year, man.
Yeah, it was a weird.
You have a president who everybody complains about, and his approval ratings were like 90% or something stupid.
Yeah, but then
I'm not saying there wasn't other stuff that happened, but like
then
you have that initial, and Marvel did it good. Yeah. Like they did that some serious.
And DC tried. It's just DC. It didn't work because DC doesn't take place in America. Yeah. I mean, it does, but it's Gotham.
It's
its
own
Metropolis,
universe,
and it's not New York City, which is where the Avengers are. It's where all the crime in America with supervillains happen is New York City until a superhero decides to move to Austin.
You've got Austin, you've got California, like they're all over.
But now. You notice back in the day it was here's all the supervillains here, and we never had a supervillain just show up in like Wichita until there was a superhero there.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden there's supervillains.
Well, that was one of the things that made Scarlet Spider really good. Volume 2 with Kane. Houston.
Yeah, he's in Houston.
Because it was like, hey, well, he was running from the government, and then he's like, well, I guess they need me here. I'm not a superhero though, and that was his thing. I'm not a hero.
But then when you had Daredevil move to California,
that was insane.
Like that was awesome.
It was insane.
That was a good run. Marvel does a good job. Now I want to read comics again.
Marvel does a good job. You know how many times I've heard you bitch about Marvel?
Yeah, I know.
They do a good job.
They do a good job. I can still bitch about them.
You just want to complain. That's all it is.
I'm just saying. And now that Disney owns everything.
Disney owns the world.
When are we gonna bust that up? Like honestly. So real quickly, let's end on the Star Wars.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say because here, Star Wars is the biggest thing that Disney gets out of that.
So let's end on this Star Wars note and talk about why Disney getting more power scares me. So the average movie studio asks for 50% of ticket sales for showing a movie from a theater.
Yep.
All right. Disney, for Star Wars Episode 7, is asking for 75%.
Jeez.
You have to show the film for 4 weeks before, if not, they get an extra 10% of ticket sales. Which doesn't sound like a big deal when you live in a city like St. Louis where there's 1,000 movie places around. But when you're dealing with a lot of rural areas with 1, maybe 2 screens, half the town goes and sees Star Wars within the first 2 weeks. Now that theater is stuck showing and they have to run it. They have to run it. So they're stuck with empty theaters just playing Star Wars.
You know what's funny is, because I moved recently, there's a one-room cinema called the Melba.
Yeah.
They play a movie for a week.
Yeah. And that's how a lot of these small theaters do it.
That's how you have to.
And so you've got a backlash of these small theaters saying, we're not going to run Star Wars. And Disney doesn't care. And who does that hurt? It doesn't hurt St. Louis. It doesn't hurt Texas. But it does hurt that middle part of the country where it is those one-room theaters that are like, hey, I'll pay your 75%. That's bullshit, but we'll pay it. But we just want to run it for a week so everyone can see it.
So this movie theater that I'm talking about, tickets for a movie are $4.
Yeah.
So if you're talking ticket sales there, these guys wouldn't make dick.
No, and they're not. Which is why popcorn's outrageous and all that. And I get it. Disney, you make Star Wars. It's going to be the biggest movie this year. It's going to be the biggest movie of all of 2017. That's the year we're in, right?
Yeah.
But at what point do you stop and say, we're not hurting? We're no longer just making money. We're actually hurting our fans.
As a company, you should want as many eyes on that movie as possible. Here's why. It goes past the initial ticket sales.
It does.
Merchandising, all that stuff. Like, you're going to make more money on all this shit.
Star Wars toy sales are down.
Toy sales are down. It's toy sales in general.
But Star Wars for the longest time was the.
Do you know why? Because to get the fucking BB-8 toy, is $130.
That's insane.
That's obscene. Like, you'll have a couple of rich kids that get it, and then it's all adults buying it.
But so you're hurting your movie sales, and especially in these rural areas with the one screens. Those are the people that go to Walmart and buy your Star Wars toys. Those are the ones that do that, and how they get their kids to do that is they show them the movie.
You get them stoked.
But now you got theaters they're like, we can't afford to show Star Wars. We cannot afford it. That's and that right there is the downside of Disney getting too big. It might be time to start talking about the monopoly laws.
You know what's a shame is the monopoly laws won't mean anything to anybody. And what's really crazy about this, not to get political, but you've got the president runs around all the time bitching about the media.
Right.
So when you've got a company that owns half of the media, like Disney,
and they're getting ready to buy another big chunk.
They're not going to get Fox Media rights, not news rights. It's going to be
the news is the news, but when you look at like as media as a whole, Disney's going to end up owning
everything. How long until they buy Warner Brothers?
Exactly. Like, so then you got Sony, which the fuck does Sony do? They don't really do movies now. You've got
Sony struck the most brilliant deal in movie history with Spider-Man.
And that was just to keep their studio doors open. Because Ghostbusters didn't do it.
No, Ghostbusters sucked.
And then you've got,
that was brilliant. You can use this character. Can we make the movie? You get to make the movie.
Right. Pay me all this money for a character you created.
Well, I mean, it wasn't even pay us all this money. Let us use the character, or we'll let you use the character. You make our movie so that everything works, and we'll make money because you guys make good movies.
Yeah.
I mean, that was fucking brilliant.
Disney's just growing too big.
I don't disagree at all.
And Star Wars shows the dangers of this. It really is. You have a monopoly that makes millions and billions and billions of dollars on a franchise. And what it boils down to is 2.5 hours to watch a movie that you want to take your kids to.
You know, what's crazy is this grab that Disney's making is for old Star Wars rights and Marvel characters.
Which, okay.
That's it.
You know what? Disney had a chance to license Star Wars the first go around, and they said no.
They should have.
But they said no.
Because they didn't want to spend the money.
Fox said yes, and now Fox has the rights to the old Star Wars. Sorry. You snooze, you lose.
It's wild, man.
We gotta go.
Guys, stay geeky.